Did you ever forget your ice water? And it's 1,000,000 degrees. Did you ever forget your ice water? And it's 100 million billion outside today. What's up, Monday? What's up, Monday? What's up, Monday? What's up, Monday? Gotta push a button. Yeah! What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's good to be back again on a glorious Monday. How are you doing? It's a little bit wild. Hopefully you all having a fantastic day out there. I am doing 78% today. What's up? I'm 78%. How you doing? It's nice to meet you on a Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. Anyhow, let's get down to business. The thing I wanted to talk about at the beginning of the show here today is the link I just posted in the chat, which is the wrong link. That's literally a link to this video. So let me go over to my clipboard and realize that I accidentally posted the wrong link. Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? I gotta find the button, and I'm not quite ready to do the show because I posted the wrong link in the chat, and now I gotta go down here and find it again. Yeah, here it is. And pushing buttons and copy. Okie dokie. And paste it into the chat, and we can start over with what I was talking about just a second ago. There we are. Oh, lovely. That's the, I don't know how to say this, Etech City. I don't know. Etech City. I don't have anything to do with this company, but I do have an Amazon affiliate account. So if you click on Amazon affiliate links, generate money for the channel here. So I've told you, that's the disclaimer. The Federal Trade Commission requires me to say, disclaimer, affiliate link, so you know what it is. And now we move on. I gotta reopen my broadcasting app here. There we go. There we go. Okay, everything's back to normal. Amazon affiliate links are sponsored, so just so you know. Okay, boom, done. Now, our link that I posted in there is the Etech City infrared laser thermometer, thermobitator, whatever you want to call it. That thermometer is wildly useful. I own not one, not two, but 3 of these dang things. 1, because I lost one of them and I found it. And 2, because 1 stays in my fish room at all times, and 3, 1 stays in my to-go bag when I go out and do handyman construction work. I always have one in my bag because this thing is the handiest thing, especially this time of year where the sun's ultraviolet rays are heating the planet to the point of a sweltering temperature. Now, for most people, that's just an uncomfortable situation where you have to get yourself a little glass of ice water, rub it about your forehead, blow a fan on your face. Oh, through evaporative cooling, you'll do fine as a human. You're probably going to be okay. Just don't overexert yourself in the temperature as a person. You know what you're doing. You got a brain on your head. You got a brain on your head. Whose head is it? I don't know. You got a brain on your head, right? That's some delicious water. You know what I'm talking about. But as a little critter who lives in your fish tank, whether it's in your fish room or your living room or your basement or your attic or outside in the yard, wherever you keep your fish, I keep mine in the garage. Wherever you keep them, the temperature is going to be a concern this time of year for the opposite of winter. For in winter, we worry about the ice cubes possibly showing up in your fish tank. This time of year, we're worried about temperature because of multiple interactions with water and temperature. Now, one of those interactions is oxygen saturation. As the temperature goes up, there will be less opportunity. I got an eyelash or eyebrow hair or something in my eye while doing a show. That's pretty good. I think I got it. Did I get it? All right, I got it. I think. It's not jabbing me in the eyeball anymore. Okay. So you will lose oxygen saturation in the water as the temperature arises. And, hey, fish, critters, they need to breathe. So that is a concern. And, by the way, measuring O2 saturation is not the easiest thing in the world. But measuring temperature is basically the easiest thing in the world. With that link I provided there, it is a temperature gun that you can just infrared laser shoot it at stuff. And I think it goes from like negative 30 all the way up to 550 degrees or something like that. Whatever the range is for any average person in the world, it's going to be a big enough range for you. So negative 50 Celsius, whatever the heck that is. Oh, that's basically where it meets negative Fahrenheit. Basically, it's not exact, but it's negative 58 Fahrenheit to 1,022 degrees Fahrenheit. Negative 50 Celsius to 550 Celsius. By the way, if you're hitting 500 Celsius in your tank, you've got way more problems than any of us could ever help you with. So don't buy a thermometer if that's what you got going on, I guess. That would be my advice. If your fish tank was at 500 degrees Celsius, I would not worry about buying a thermometer. I would worry about moving out of the liquid magma that you live in. That's probably would be my advice for the average person out there. But as a hobbyist or a professional even, it is much easier to go around and check all of the temperatures of the tank. And by the way, when I'm monitoring the tanks at the aquarium co-op, there are, there's 88 tanks plus the other tanks. There's about 100 tanks. So if I was to be dipping into every tank to try and get some kind of temperature out of them, you'd probably just spend all day losing your mind trying to figure out what the temperature of all the tanks are. With an infrared gun like this, I can literally go tank to tank to tank to tank, mark them down if there is any kind of temperature fluctuation or any of that kind of stuff. Now, in my fish room, I only have, I have 6 or 7 aquariums. I'm trying to think right now, plus the sumps. So each one is like 2, but I always temp the tank and the sump to kind of see what's going on. The heaters are down in the sump, so typically the sump is going to be a little bit warmer than the tank itself if the heaters are on. But this just gives me accurate reading in a very efficient way that I can always check kind of over and over again. You know, if we're talking about little thermometers hanging in the tank, that kind of stuff, you're like, I don't know what's going on. So those can be exceedingly difficult. Janice says the thermometer I bought at Lowe's is 10 degrees off from the get-go. Thanks for the link. Now, with an infrared thermometer like this, we have to remember that we are going to get temperature discrepancies, or I'm trying to think about exactly the best word to use. If you are shining this through an object, you will get an inaccurate reading. So to highlight to most of the people out there that are watching or listening right now, this needs to be directed into the water, not through the front of the tank. Whether it's acrylic or glass, this will give you an inaccurate reading of the water temperature. Now, you might be able to get away with this in an air temperature situation, although I don't know why you would do that in an air situation. I don't know why you'd be shooting it like through a window or something like that. But this is something to bear in mind, that if this is a thermometer that you've never used before, you would want to keep that in mind. You want to shoot it into the water from like up above so that you are actually getting the temperature of the water, not, you know, the refraction from either the glass or the acrylic changing what it's reading. So my little piece of advice, and you can thusly monitor the temperature of your tanks for the health of everything in there. Plants, generally speaking, are going to be more or less okay with cold temperature swings, right? So let's say you were to keep your aquarium at 76 degrees and that was your goal temperature all the time. And let's say it dropped down to 68 or 65 or even 60 or something like that. Generally speaking, plants are going to be okay. Generally speaking, most fish are going to be okay. Shrimp is a sort of 50-50 kind of crapshoot, but plants, fish, shrimp, snails, it's kind of a weird thing to even bring up, but generally anything in your tank, excessive high temperatures quickly and readily lead to an unhealthy situation and the definite possibility of, not only death, but injury, stuff like that. So this is a critical time of year, in my opinion. There are ways that you can cool it down. I don't recommend the ice method. I don't recommend doing this. Like, I know a lot of people have reached that frantic attempt at cooling. They'll do like a frozen jug of water or something and add it in there. I don't necessarily recommend that unless you are in that real just emergency freak out situation. It's not something that I would recommend. The recommendation I have is to get a fan. This is the easiest thing for any human in the world to do. You get a little clip-on fan. You could get a real big fancy fan if you want, but generally speaking, a fan that is just a clip-on fan that maybe you would use as like a little personal fan, something like that, whatever. Potentially one that you could plug in and not have to worry about the battery situation or anything like that, and have it blow across the top of the water, which will create evaporative cooling like we talked about as a person before. Now, here's the deal. So when you run this water, like I've got this ice water here, if I run this water across my head, it is cold when I have it on there. It will leave that condensation of water, right? And if you blow a fan on yourself, you will notice that you become much cooler, and the reason for that is what's called evaporative cooling. So this water that's on your brow, whether it's sweat or whatever, you blow a fan on it, that water evaporates, thusly taking some of the... I know someone's going to call me out on this, and I know that this isn't exactly correct. Is it kinetic energy? Is that right? Yeah. It takes energy for water to evaporate, and it will take heat away with it. That's why you cool off. So evaporative cooling, that's the same thing that will happen if you blow a fan over the top of your tank. Some of that water will evaporate, and it will cool down the temperature of the tank. It is the best way to do it, whether you have a reef tank, a brackish tank, a freshwater tank, a shrimp tank, a fish tank. It doesn't matter what kind of... You have a body of water, you blow that water over the top, it's going to cool it down. So that is always my recommendation. Figure out a good way to check the temperature and cool it down with a fan. Maybe unplug the heaters and stuff so you don't even accidentally run into adding heat to the water and that kind of stuff. But evaporative cooling is exactly the way to go, in my opinion. It's the simplest way to do it. It is arguably the best way to do it. You always just end up with these opinion arguments, right, where people start arguing what they like or whatnot. But I feel it's the easiest way. It's the simplest way. And not only is it the best way, but it's the best way to just implement. It's like, oh, I can blow some air around, and you know what's happening because you got a brain on your head, not in your head, on your head. And it's really simple to pull off. You blow a fan onto the water, Boom, boom, Bob's your uncle. So I think that kind of encapsulates what I wanted to talk about right off the beginning of the show here. I don't know if it really deemed making a video about it, but I feel like it was worthwhile to make a live stream about it, namely because when I'm doing a live stream, I'm live streaming to the people that are really kind of engaged. We generally have a back and forth conversation. That's the reason for doing the live streams. And I feel like just kind of explaining where I'm at on this thing versus making an in-depth video about it. I mean, maybe I will make an in-depth video about it. It hadn't really crossed my mind until just now that I was saying stuff verbally out of my mouth permanently onto the internet that maybe I will do a little video about it, but who knows? I'll have to read what the rest of Sunwise was saying, but it's a funny comment right there. Don't listen half the time. Autocorrect nightmare, which just made me laugh. Let's see. What was Sunwise talking about? Fan and bubbles cooling #1. Yeah, that makes sense. Zombie Drummer says potential energy. Yes, that's a good way to describe it. But also, I forgot to say what's up to everybody today. Let's run through the list here real quick because I can see who's in the live chat. I turned my monitor vertically, so now I have the live chat occupying this whole monitor vertically. I remember Mikey Fishy was first to the chat, even though my chat doesn't go that far up anymore. So what's up, Mikey Fishy? First to the chat. Janice Lumberg, second to the chat. Danielle Velez, third to the chat. What's up, my man? Good to see you. We got D. Tracy. We got Gnarly Fish Tanks. We got Michael Sarr. We got The Zen Ginger. We got Dave Friesen. We got Tank Nerd Mitch. We got Mike Kinseth. We got Daryl Deemer. As I've been told, it's Deemer and not Dimer. Although I like Dimer. It reminds me of Dimebag Daryl from Pantera, which, rest in peace. Or rest in power, I guess. I don't know. But we've got Sunwise. We've got Christopher Gustavez. I'm missing a bunch of people. Joel G. Jared Byer. Charlie7842. What's up, Charlie? How you doing? Desert Fish Keeper. Raul. Hex Tank Apologist. All right, I'm running out of being able to track this, but we've got a super chat from Clint's Aqua Tanks. $1.49. Thank you very much with the little heart bubbles, man. Those are like bubbles made out of hearts, which always feels good when people have hearts made out of bubbles or bubbles made out of hearts or vice versa. Whatever way, hearts, man, feel the love. It's all good. Stuff and Stuff. What did Stuff and Stuff say? Let's go back here. Hey, Corvus, do you have any tips on making a pearlweed carpet? Mine seems to be growing vertically instead of horizontally. It always boggles my mind when people tune in to listen to what I'm talking about because I say things like horizontally. It's a word. I made it up. Yes, I have some tips. Raise up your CO2. Make it a little bit easier on your... Well, you got pearlweed. You don't have, like, dwarf baby tears. You got pearlweed. But raise up your CO2 a little bit easier for the pearlweed to do what it's got to do. And you're going to need a little extra light. You might consider adding a little more light into there. But the reality is what Charlie said here. The best advice is light CO2, like I said. And then here's Charlie. Trim it down. It triggers it to spread out instead of growing up. Yeah, pretty much any plant that is growing vertically like that, if you're trimming it on a regular basis, that will help spread it horizontally. I suppose if I use it enough, eventually Webster's Dictionary will probably pick it up, right? So... what was I saying? Oh, yeah. And utilizing the trimmings, replant those. Utilize the trimmings, replant those. Trim that off. Any kind of carpeting plant, you're going to really need to be doing that because that will help to continue to fill out the carpeting nature. You add that little light, a little extra CO2, that kind of stuff will help also. But it does more or less boil down to trimming it a lot will force a plant to grow sideways because it will start looking for opportunity to continue growing, not to anthropomorphication. Is that right? Not to anthropomorphize. can never really say that right. I want to look at the word. I want to look at it right. I want to look at it. Then I might be able to say it. Who knows? Anthropomorphism. Is that right? Anthropomorphized. No. Man, I'm an idiot. Anthropomorphize. Anthropomorphize. Gah. Well, there's a dark space in my brain, and it has everything to do with anthropo. All right, screw it. It's Monday. I don't know what you guys want me to do. On a personal note, I was up until 1:30 in the morning and got up at 5:30 today. So the brain's a little bit out there. Anthropomorphization. There we go. We don't want to add anthropomorphization to a plant. They don't actively think. They just continue to grow and try to, propagate, promulgate. I'm in making up words today. They want to occupy the space, continue to grow, and just be a plant and continue to reproduce. So if you are trimming them up, they will start to grow sideways. And that's the longest, dumbest explanation I think I've ever given about anything. But welcome to my life, guys. That's what's going on over here in my neck of the woods. Sleep deprivation, and it's been super hot out, so that's not helping. But I did get my steps in yesterday. I got to work out yesterday, so my phone says. And, I'm getting a bunch of text messages now. Oh, that was from before. Okay. I can do anti-disestablishmentarianism. I know that one. I know that word. Anthropomorphification is whatever a stumbling block for me to be able to say. But, I probably killed that part of my brain. But anti-disestablishmentarianism, I know that word quite well from my constant arguments, political arguments that I constantly have gotten into my whole entire life. And anybody wondering out there, yeah, I was a junior statesman. What's up? So Stuff and Stuff says, oh, okay, thank you. I've always liked the way Pearlweed carpets, and it hasn't been doing that to me for the 2 weeks I've had it. Has CO2 at around 15 parts per million, so I assume I need more light and CO2. Yeah, if you're injecting CO2 into your aquarium, the goal target is 30 parts per million. That's really where you want to be. If you're psycho like me, and I say that in a friendly way, if you're a crazy person like me, you want to be, I'm shooting for 40, 50, 60 parts per million. And that's just, that's because I'm kind of a nut and I'm running my tanks on the brink of insanity. So, but, it's all good. Hex Tank Apologist is asking, did you give Cooper Corby all your Rummy Nose Tetras? No. Mm-mm. No, I've got probably like 40 Rummy Nose left. They're all the like big chunky chonkers. They are super fast. They are impossible to catch. I have all the chunky ones are left. Basically, like any of the Rummy Nose that had realistically any problem with them slowly but surely got weeded out. By the nature, more than anything. And people are saying that my voice is coming out at a different time than the video. Everything on my end is legit. Bitrate is correct. Stream in excellent condition. We got chat revenue set at $1. Likes are at 25, which seems low because we have 900 million people watching today. That's weird. Why would we only have 25 likes if we had 900 million people watching? It's a low percentage. Yeah. Some people are saying weird visual lag on the stream today. Yep, I don't know what to do about that. Some people say it's fine. Some people say it isn't. Don't know what to tell you. Don't know what to tell you because it says everything is working correctly on my end. But then again, I more or less could be, bouncing off a lot of different things, So, Stuff and Stuff says, voice is coming out before the video. Yeah, I don't know why that is. YouTube is dumb, so I don't know. Don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that, but not much I can do about it on my end. Average watch time is at 4 minutes. Ooh, man, people are just not watching very long today. They must not like the unsynced video, but I don't know what I can do once the stream has started. I've tried to do stuff in the past, and that almost always was a bad idea. So, I don't know. Either way, maybe it'll catch up. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But let's jump into our YouTube members because I see our newest YouTube member in the chat. As you guys know, I'm able to even do any kind of production at this point in time because of YouTube members and Patreonizers. So this is a moment I would like to take to give a shout out to the homies. Thank you very much for being able to chip in and help sponsor. We can take our 92. We went way down. Now we're up to 93 thanks to John McKenzie. What's up, my guy? Our newest YouTube member. And Patreon, we got to go take a look at Patreon, which they're trying to tell me to try a new thing out on Patreon, which I'm not going to do that right now. That number is going to stay exactly the same, 237. Thank you very much, everybody on Patreon and becoming a member. I 100% appreciate it. This pandemic is running strong. This pandemic is running strong. A lot of people are out of work. A lot of people are losing money. A lot of things are going on. My channel here initially lost about 40%. Now we've lost about 50% and dropping down because of, I assume, the pandemic. But then again, who knows? Maybe people are just tired of me not being able to say anthropomorphification, right? I think that's probably what it boils down to when you get down to it, right? Sage McDonald says the voice and video are not synced. That has nothing to do with me. That's what I've been trying to explain a couple of times here. I am literally looking at my computer. My computer is synced with itself, and the audio is going like this when I talk, and my hands and my face and everything are moving around at the right time. My bit rate is set to 20,000 kilobytes per second. I don't think that I could put it any higher than that. So I don't know. YouTube is processing and doing something weird. I don't know what to do about it. So, yeah. So I know a lot of people have lost out because of the pandemic. In the United States, we have not even remotely gotten to a point where this pandemic situation would be even over. It seems to be the virus is spreading around. People are getting sick. It's just a never-ending. It's just a never-ending situation. I know a lot of people were seeing increased unemployment numbers, all that stuff. Obviously, this isn't the focus of my show, but I just wanted to say thank you for everybody for helping continue to sponsor the show. And hopefully, if you have $1 and you want to consider becoming part of our community, I would very much appreciate it, and so would everybody else. And we would love to have you. If not, ain't nobody mad at you. Ain't nobody mad at you. We understand that people have money sometimes, and then sometimes you don't. And your own personal, your roof over your head, your electric bill, your food, all that stuff, for your family, all that, all comes first. 100% of my mind space is dedicated to people taking care of their family and stuff like that first and foremost. That is the most important thing. Anyhow, so this weekend was a little bit interesting. I'm working on those outside terrariums. I don't know to call them terrariums or not. I'm not necessarily going to have any inhabitants put in there by me. I think there probably will be some inhabitants at some point in time. They will likely join up, or they will likely bring in some critters from the outdoors. The great outdoors will likely send some critters in there, and then the critters will all be hanging out, doing their thing in there, but I'm not going to personally bring anything and put them in there. So I don't know if it's a terrarium or if it's just a fancy planter box at this point. Hard to say what I'm trying to qualify it, but you guys know what I'm talking about because you, of course, watch the little setup videos of those. There happens to be 3 of them, and like a total moron, I lost the setup of the 3rd tank, so I'm actually probably going to redo that whole tank and reshoot the whole video of it, of the setup of that tank. But, you know, needless to say, doing a little bit of work, kind of checking out what's going on, and it literally is just the least amount of work possible, which is fun because most of the time is just checking out what's going on. I'm basically having to water. I'm not at a crazy trimming point, but I am going to add some more seeds, and I'm going to shoot some video of that, so that will be likely kind of fun. I'm trying to think of a real creative way to shoot that. I tried to mount a camera to the tongs, which was a fail, but it is okay to have failures as long as we're just trying to do something new, you know what I mean? So, Benjamin Benjamin P says, and everyone knows that means everyone else agrees with me. Pretty good, not bad. Okay, yeah. So trying to get that and trying to figure out an interesting way to do the do that planting video, or the seed planting, because you know, I know how to do video of planting, you know, little plant trimmings and stuff like that. I'm very kind of used to doing that and trying to improve that also. But trying to do the seed planting thing outside is been a little bit weird, but I think I'm close to figuring out what I want to do. But you know, either way. Jessica Taylor says, wondering what type of device you're on if you're seeing lag. Because Jessica is not... Oh, Jessica says I have the visual lag too, but it happens a lot, not just this stream. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would think the reality is that it has something probably to do with YouTube. I don't know. I don't know what I could do at this point other than just keep sending to YouTube, but that's what's up. Because I don't think there's... Let me see. Enable auto start. I'm trying to think if there's a setting that I could do that would even change that. Yeah, because the stream is... It says the stream is healthy. Everything is fine. Stream status is legit. We pinned the merchandise today. I remember to do that because we got those shrimp stickers that I think are cool. Yeah, other than that, there isn't much I can do other than just stop and restart the whole live stream. But I've never found that to really work out all that well. It's almost always like the worst thing in the world. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, had that going on. Like, the crazy weather's been going on. And, you know, I know that a lot of people out there in the world are like, oh, 95 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that translates to Celsius. They're like, yeah, that's hot, but that's not crazy hot. I live on the moon where it's 1 billion degrees every day, you know. But 95 degrees here is that level of humidity and that level of heat that most of the structures and stuff like that just aren't handled to do. Like, we don't have AC, you know. We do have, like, a little portable AC unit that like rolls around on wheels. But the buildings around here just weren't designed for it to be hot. Like this house was built in 1924, and it just wasn't designed like there'll be long stretches of hot, you know. So it is a little bit uncomfortable. It is a little bit disconcerting. But it's just annoying more than anything. And the heat has just kind of been the focus. So that's what we got going on. We got a pandemic and it's hot. We got some super chats here to deal with. We got a $5 super chat from Steve Beartich. Are there any legit aquarium plant seeds in the hobby? In a real general way, I would say no. Are there some out there that do exist? Likely. Is there any way for the average person to vet whether or not what they're getting is legitimate? I don't think so. I don't think that there's a simple way for anyone to go like on Amazon or eBay or whatever fish site you go to, or if you go on Facebook or wherever you go, Craigslist, doesn't matter wherever you go. You know what I mean? Aquabid, you know. I don't think there's there's no real place that I could recommend, honestly, that you would be able to get aquarium plants from a seed. Now, one of the big reasons for that is there are a lot of companies out there, and when I say companies, I mean these are like the bare minimum of company, that are selling seeds. Now, you don't know if you're getting dichondra, you don't know if you're getting chickweed, tomato seeds, you don't know what you're getting, right? As the average person. If you talk about like the chickweed seeds that I got, they are so tiny. They're so tiny. They're like 1 millimeter in diameter, maybe, right? Tiny little dark brown black seed, right? You have no idea what's going to grow from that seed. And on top of it, every single plant out there, almost every single plant out there, let me step that blanket statement that I put out there, but almost every plant that grows underwater has a different form when growing out of the water, right? So as the average hobbyist, you're likely not going to be able to identify what plant is growing up out of the water to verify whether or not it's going to be the plant that is growing underwater from the basic research that you've probably done on the plant that you're buying some seeds for. You just end up running into this crazy wall of, you're sending off emails to people, you're trying to verify if this is this, if that is that, blah, blah, blah. When, realistically, you're saving $2 more often than not. Like you could get a package of seeds for $4.99. You could buy the plant itself for $7.99, $8.99, $5.99 to $7.99. You know what I'm saying? Like you're literally saving $2, $3, maybe $4, and putting yourself in a position where you're reliant on this insane amount of time to research whether or not you've got the proper seeds, if they sprouted the way that they're supposed to be, if the immersed form is, if the emergent form is the accurate version versus the submerged form. There's just a lot to go through. Now, is buying seeds a bad idea? No. I would generally say if you're buying seeds from somewhere that is an approved FDA import source, or what is it? Is it FDA that's in charge of that? I think it's the FDA. It might be the EPA. It might be some other group. I don't know. But if you're buying seeds from a reputable source that has been brought in correctly, I don't think that there's a bad downside to buying seeds and growing things and finding out what you're growing, and that's cool. But if you're like, oh, I wanted to do Monte Carlo in my aquarium, just buy that plant. And you have a follow-up if you bought the plant from somewhere and it turns out they sent the wrong plant or something like that. Like you have a legitimate claim in a timely manner of like, well, the mail got here and here's the thing I got that you sent me, and you sent me the wrong thing, right? Now, there are people out there like myself, like Victoria. There are people in this building right here that harvest seeds on a regular basis. In agriculture, harvesting seeds as a farmer is a gigantic waste of time. And people are often confused by that when I've talked to them about it, because they'll normally say, well, Monsanto has been suing all of these people because they have seeds and da-da-da-da. Now, the reality behind that is more often than not, if you actually were to look into a lot of those lawsuits and stuff, it's the legal jargon that's crazy, but let me kind of translate most of those instances, is that farmers don't keep and store seeds, right? So if you're somebody that grows okra, for instance, right? You don't store okra seeds because you're going to have to store those for 2 or 3 years before the next time you plant them, right? Hold on a minute. There's something weird going on outside. Hold on a second. Well, let me hold my thought here. My thought bubble. Let's see out front. What is going on? Huh. I don't know. There's like a giant tractor trailer out front. That is weird. Oh, there they go. They changed their mind. They're leaving. Oakley dokley. That was weird. Living in bizarro world here with big tractor trailer trucks hanging out front for 30 seconds and then driving off. Weird. Anyhow, so basically what I was trying to explain is that in agriculture, those farmers would be storing seeds for 2-3 years because you're in a crop rotation. So let's say you grow okra one year. Next year, you're going to grow corn. And then the year after that, you're going to grow, I don't know, whatever the crop rotation is. So you don't grow the same crop in the same dirt every year after year after year after year. Now, the reason for that is you're going to go bankrupt trying to fertilize either the top 4 inches, the middle 4 inches, or 8 inches below to continue to grow the same crop in the same area, right? Now, if you grow corn, it's going to, oh crap, and I can't remember the name. Nitrification, is that right? That might be right, it might be wrong, but anyhow, let's stay layman's terms here because I'm going to really kind of screw something up. To refertilize those deeper root plants, they're going to get turned back into the soil. They're going to help create a proper nitrogen mix for the next crop to come in. And you're going to continue doing that every year. So as you do that crop rotation, you're not going to be storing 4 tons worth of seeds for next year, for the year after that, the year after that. So you have to pay for all of that storage. You can't just leave it outside where it's going to get wet on the ground or whatnot, right? So that's more or less often when we hear about those lawsuits and things that are going on, like, yes, there are some that are legitimate, there are some that are bad, there's some that are good, there are bad, but we realistically have to see like kind of both sides of the coin where, somebody wasn't licensed to have seeds that year. Maybe they bought 8 tons of seeds and they didn't really need 8 tons. They're not going to, you're not going to just store those seeds. So what ends up happening is you go like, hey, guy down the road, do you want this extra ton of okra or whatever seed you got? And they just go like, yeah, we'll just plant that up in this row I got over here. And then the reality is they go like, well, hey, we sold those seeds cheap to this person for a reason, because we have an agreement to sell and buy X amount, and they're basically getting a wholesale discount, but then they sell them to somebody else for a profit, right? So that's generally what most of those lawsuits are about. Now, as aquarium hobbyists and stuff like that, even in Europe, where land is not a plentiful, there is still like a lot of unoccupied land, but you're talking about a lot. People are more densely populated. The area's been explored. There's no mystery land in Europe. You know what I'm saying? Even when you're looking at a premium cost, they move over to tissue culture. They don't move over to seeding all of the plants and then storing seeds, right? So the way that you would want to go instead of being a seed producer is you'd want to move over to tissue culture if that's what you wanted to realistically do, is produce at a high volume with a lower output of cost, right? So the reasoning that I explained all of that nonsense there, that was probably 90% accurate with my own screw-ups, is that there's no one out there that's really like reselling those seeds, because if they were going to resell those seeds, you would want to sell them to the people that are producing the plant, because that's the proper chain of, hey, I'm the seed guy, I sell them to the people that sprout them, they sprout those plants, then they sell those plants to the next person in line, and that money is going, from the retail purchaser to the retailer, then the retailer is buying from the farmer is buying from the seed producer, right? Now, that is just kind of a utterly simplified explanation of how that works. It wouldn't make any sense if you were the seed person to be like, well, I'm just going to start selling seeds to random people, right? So the problem is that oftentimes those seeds that are being resold are people that are disingenuous in their approach as to why they're selling these seeds in the first place. So oftentimes you find that it's a grifter that's selling seeds that they happen to have to somebody that probably doesn't identify what it is that they're buying in a timely enough fashion, or have any kind of recourse from having bought seeds from somebody that sold them the wrong seeds, right? And so if you are buying those seeds, you want to buy them from somebody that's exceedingly vetted and reputable. Weird pronunciation, brain fart. But you'd want to buy them from a reputable. That's just such a weird word, man. Is there laughing gas in here, guys? I don't know. Site that is properly packaged, that you know where it's coming from and why they're selling those seeds, because there's not really that great of an advantage, other than this little bit of a cash grab from somebody who's probably selling you the wrong seeds in the first place. And the list of people that have been sold the wrong seeds is extensive. It's 1,000,000 miles long. If you just go Google somebody buying aquarium seeds, you will get 9 million or something, like you just so many stories of people buying the wrong seeds. Like Steve says, it's parsley. Yeah. It's way easier for them to just get parsley seeds or chickweed seeds or something like that, and then just sell them to you, right? Mint, perfect example. Joel G says, I bought 5,000 mint seeds to throw in my neighbor's yard to seek revenge on them once from AliExpress for like $3. I wouldn't recommend that type of revenge, my guy. Mainly just because the ecological damage that you could possibly inflict on what is already a damaged area. That's why I wouldn't recommend that. But it's also super funny. Like, I do have to admit that is pretty darn funny, but I don't like the potential agricultural damage, but I feel like that's a real, like, puffy chest BS stance for me to have. I get it. But I also do want to remind people, like, watch out. Don't damage the ecology of an area too badly. Maybe find something that is a weed that is endemic from that area. So, like, if I wanted to seek revenge on my weird neighbors, I would use, like, dandelion seeds, and just seed their yard, their fancy lawn or something, if that's what I was trying to do. Because dandelions are everywhere where I live, and they aren't necessarily a bad thing. So that might be funner than potentially mint in New Zealand, which I don't know if mint even grows in New Zealand or not. Yeah. Slimy Shroom says, I bought some seeds for dwarf hairgrass. It worked kind of well, but most of them didn't even come up. Like 150 seeds I bought actually came up. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a long time for a person to identify either the efficacy, there we go, efficacy of the seeds and identify the seeds, because more often than not, almost every plant is scientifically identified via its emergent grown form, so it growing above the water. So you're at a deficit already. You're at a deficit already with the timeline, right? Because it's going to take you a long time to actually sprout these seeds to find out what's going on. You're at an additional deficit in the fact that you're going to grow them underwater, which most places aren't going to have them identified that way. You're going to have to flower them somehow and figure out what flower it is, because that's typically the traditional identifier to really find out what plant you have, is to get it to flower and identify it that way. If you're talking about hairgrass, hairgrass has to flower, right? Let's see if there is a flower. Dwarf hair grass, because I got to think, because we got to think, like, if we got to identify exactly Elacaris, I don't know, Elacaris acicularis, I think is how you say this correctly. I've always called it Elacaris, and that's definitely leaving out the other element. Hello, buttons. Is this working? Hey, weirdo. What are you doing up there on the stairs?
I'm going to go pick up the baby.
Oh. Victoria's here, and she's going to go run an errand. Okay. Have fun out there storming the castle.
Yeah.
Quit trying to attack everyone with your sword. Never. So I'm trying to see if I can find the flower for it. Just off the top. Oh, there we go. There it is, flowering. Wait, there. Those are some real small flowers, my guy. It's going to be hard to... Where is it? There it is. I don't know how you'd realistically be able to identify it specifically correctly. But, it also is kind of a difficulty realistically to identify everything exactly, even in when you get the plant. You know what I mean? It's like that's a difficult enough task to just literally go like, here's a plant, identify it, And if you're not familiar with it, you're probably going to be in a position of struggle, in a realistic application is that you're probably going to be in a difficult spot anyhow. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I just really wouldn't do it. But Steve Bertich has a good point. He says aggro pranks wildflower their lawn. That's a good way to go. John McKenzie says dandelion is an invasive species. Let's see if dandelion is invasive. I don't think it is. Dandelion invasive. Puget Sound. Invasive species, King County. There we go. Invasive plants, 100 noxious weeds that have been identified by the King County Noxious Weed Program. Your pet goldfish is in there. Yep. You got to watch out in Washington State. People have been putting their goldfish into ponds, which is incredibly invasive. I don't see the dandelion on here, but let's go to the full list. Class A weeds, Class B weeds, Class C weeds. Common name. Let's see if we got dandelion on there. Crupina. We've got cordgrass. Salt meadow cordgrass. Dyer's woad. Egg leaf. False brome. Oh, that's the Brachiotum silvatisum, right? Silvatisum, something like that. Yeah. Thistle is Class B. Dalmatian toadflax. No. And non-regulated B and C noxious weeds. No dandelion there. None of it's invasive on the King County list. I don't know. I don't think that they're invasive to Washington State. Let me see if I can look on the Washington State board. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Dandelion. No. So let's see. Let's look up dandelion. What is it? Area. Dandelions are perennial herbaceous plants that grow best in moist, sunny areas. Let's see. Invasive biological species summary. Gets its name from the French term. Ooh, so maybe it's not supposed to be here. Let's see. Original distribution. Here it is. Though the dandelion has been carried from place to place since before written history, it can at least be said that the plant is native to Europe and Asia. Oh my God, it's not supposed to be here. All right, must be invasive then, right? The earliest recordings can be found in Roman times, and use has been noted by the Anglo-Saxon tribes of Britain and the Normans of France. In the 10th and 11th centuries, there's mention of dandelions used for medicinal purposes in the works of Arabian physicians. Current distribution, dandelions have been established in the Americas, Australia, and New Zealand, amongst many other temperate regions such as Austria, Italy, Poland, Turkey, and throughout the United States. India, for example, has largely cultivated the plant to use as a remedy for liver problems. Dandelions can grow just about anywhere. So yeah, maybe they are invasive in the U.S.? Maybe? Possibly. All right, I'll look into it more, because now I got questions. The Taraxum officinale, I think, is how you're supposed to say it. Probably wrong. I mean, it says that it's native to Europe and Asia, but who knows? I'll have to continue looking into it. We'll see how it goes, though. Steve says, wear your mask, dear. Oh, Stephen Law. What's up? Stephen Law's here. Says, hi, you good? Yeah, I'm pretty good. I don't know. Who was it? Janice was asking about my health earlier. Seems that my health is we're up and down. I keep having this upper respiratory nonsense, and I don't have a lot of answers about it right now. But Could be better, could be worse. John McKenzie says arrived on the Mayflower. I'd have to look that up. I think I got to look that up. My bit rate is fine. But YouTube is not receiving enough data. All right. Might be dead. Might have killed the live stream. I wonder if the live stream's dead. Let's find out. We'll pop over here onto YouTube. Let's see. No, it's literally me just wondering what's going on. Might be dead. Might have killed the live stream. I wonder if the live stream's dead. Let's find out. We'll pop over here. Oh. Man, it really is out of sync, huh? All right. Well, I don't know. It sounds like it's not working right, but either way, I'll look into the dandelions. I'm intrigued by that. I'm intrigued by that. I definitely want to dig deeper. I want to dig deeper, and we'll see what's up. Well, Charlie's saying it's not dead, but now I'm actually getting the notification from YouTube that that we are buffering and things are unhealthy, not receiving enough data, which is really weird. Dude, I pay a lot of money for the best internet that I could possibly get here, and it's weird. And the only thing I could do is accidentally disrupt the ability to continue live streaming, so who knows. Darren DeRoos says it's not dead. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I busted it open to see if I was still live or not. But I'm going to try something here because, let's see, we're 1 hour in. So if we get it screwed up, then that's what's up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the other screen, the intro screen. Then I'm going to try to reload it. So we'll see what happens. I think it's working now. We'll see. We'll see how it's going. Let's see if it's working. I don't know. We've reloaded. We're trying it again. We're going to see how this goes. Who knows? Who knows? Seems like it's working. We'll see how this goes. I want to see if we have if we're really I think it's working now. We'll see. Oh. We'll see how it's going. See if it's working. I don't know. We've reloaded. Oh. Trying it again. We've got no lag. All right. Who knows? And that's me actually talking. Who knows? I hear myself laughing like a dingleberry. Sorry about that. Anyhow, we tried it. Seems to be working. We just pull all the plugs out and yell at the internet for a minute, and apparently it'll work again. Well, I'm going to mark that down. I'm going to try that next time. That was a little harebrained, but we'll try that again next time. And we've got about a half an hour here before I have to go back to cutting things in the extraordinarily hot garage. So, yeah, why not? We'll talk about some fish stuff. Where was it? Darren DeRusi was asking, are cherry shrimp less likely to move my aqua soil into my sand than the amanos I have now that keep doing that? They keep taking the soil up and over the rock wall I have separating the soil and sand. Amano shrimp are pretty renowned for messing with things, moving around. They're a pretty big shrimp once they're full grown. And they do kind of dig around, kick things up, and do a lot of messing around. Now, if you are somebody that has like a white sand path with some black around if you have like that path with some black substrate and then some white substrate or whatnot, bear in mind that's always going to get messed up. It's either going to have like diatom algae growing on it. It's going to have some fish swim around in there, some shrimp, some snails, some whatever, just the current of the water. There'll be many factors screwing that up. So I always kind of recommend people like maybe that's not the best aquascape idea that you could possibly do as just an average hobbyist. Now, if you are somebody that's like an Instagrammer or something like that, and you have to post pictures like that all the time, that might be a good way for you to go. But that's always going to get messed up. Now, if we're talking about the specifics of cherry shrimp versus amano shrimp and how much they're going to mess up the tank, I would say yes. In my opinion, cherry shrimp would be messing up that less so, but I don't know what the actual test would look like or if you'd realistically see a big time benefit. Now, I typically don't get critters, and I don't recommend people to get whatever critter you want to put in your tank to do cleaning or do a job that a human can do. Just on the basis that it's really easy to run into issues with that if you're going that way. So I would say if you want to keep cherry shrimp, I would go for it and go that route. I recommend cherry shrimp to anybody that keeps an aquarium. There's just so many benefits to them being attractive if you get some nice red ones or blue or whatever, whatever you're going with the Neocaridinus. Oh my gosh, I can't even pronounce anything today. But if you go with Neos, it's a great route in my opinion. There are many upsides that they're attractive. They're fun to watch. They do help break down detritus to a degree. I wouldn't count on them to be doing that for you versus the amount you can do as a human with just a gravel vac and water change. But they're also a food source. A lot of fish will eat them as food. It's kind of their job in nature, but there's just a lot of upside. As a hobbyist, you can sell them. You could pretty much sell them to just about anybody. So you could breed them. They breed prolifically, and there's just a lot of upside to cherry shrimp as far as I'm concerned. Any of the Neo type out there. There are some difficult ones for sure, but most of them are pretty easy, adapted to tank life, and I think there's just a lot of benefits to them. Amano shrimp, I think there's less benefit as a hobbyist. You know, yes, they do clean some algae and stuff like that, but you know, as I highlighted before, as a human, you can clean the tank in 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. You can do a water change in 10 minutes and do more than 1,000 shrimp in just a tiny amount of time. Doing a water change, cleaning the tank, maintaining the filter. You know what I mean? Like there's just no way. I mean, you would need like millions of shrimp to outcompete what a person can do in an hour. You know, in a week. Like if they were going about doing something 2 weeks, even. You know, like let's say you do your maintenance once every 2 weeks. You spend an hour doing it. You do a water change. You clean all the glass. You pick out any little algae bits that are going on. You do a water change. You check your CO2. You check your fertilization, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. In just an hour amount of time, I would bet on the human versus, I guess conservatively, 10,000 shrimp or something. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have 1,000,000 shrimp in a tank, so that would never happen. But maybe you have 300 shrimp in a tank, 400 shrimp in a tank, 500 shrimp. I would always bet on the person. The human can do way more than a shrimp or a snail or even just, you know, some panda garas in the tank. You know what I'm saying? Like any of these fish or shrimp or whatever that people are buying to clean the tank for them is, and this is my opinion based off of my experience and from experiencing people doing that, experiencing myself doing that many, many, many years ago. It is just a bad idea all around, and the humans will always win, you know, in comparison to what some little shrimps and stuff like that can do. Darren says, thanks for the insight again. I do 50% weekly water changes and filter maintenance every other week. Yeah. So, I mean, there you go. You're doing the maintenance. You're doing that kind of stuff. If you have that substrate set up, what I almost recommend to people is sort of like break down like a path or something that you have like specifically designed. You know, use your water change to suck up a majority of that sand and stuff. Let it grow, and then when it comes time to like take pictures or whatever it is that you're trying to do there in that specific instances like that, I would add the sand in, take all your pictures, and then, you know, kind of vacuum the majority of it back out and just kind of allow it to just continue to grow without this additional stress of going to the tank like, oh, it's messed up again and now I gotta fix it. Whereas you could just be like kind of focusing on the health of the aquarium and the plants and that kind of stuff, and not be so stressed out about this kind of specific aesthetic thing that you're kind of doing for, really it's for photography and that kind of stuff. Like there's not really that much of a benefit to the tank. And if you have all the rocks and everything in there that are, the layout is all just legit, just envision the path in your mind when you're looking at it and going like, oh yeah, that's where the people walk. But the path is currently just a mud path. There's no concrete or whatever, you know. Aquarium Analytic says, hey, Corvus. Well, what's up? How you doing? I wonder, Aquarium Analytic, that sounds familiar. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the Aquarium Analytic channel. I have to go to, crap. My button's going to take me to the channel dashboard where I don't want to be. Yeah. Oh, heads up. So last week's live stream, I don't know what happened. It suddenly it turned itself back into public. And I was looking at the analytics early this morning because I got to do everything early. Last week's live stream accounted for, check this out, -7 subscribers. That's not the record. The current reigning record is -24 subscribers from doing a video, which is funny because people would think, well, you make a video, like more people are going to subscribe. Not necessarily. Let's see, aquarium and do I know how to spell that? Probably. Let's go to your channel. Let's see what's going on over there. We got 33 subscribers. We got 28 videos. We got one video from 1 day ago on a 16-gallon Planet Tank aquarium plant growth over a 45-day period. Look at that. That is cool. See, that's how you do it. Then you go over here and you hit the little bell. Oh, hold on. I should probably screen capture this, right? I'm going to screen cap it. Add source. I don't want to capture the whole entire screen. Let's go like this. Let's open this. Let's move me over here. Let's move my goofiness. And let's take this and make it half screen. Like that, right? Did that work? No. Can I make it half screen? There. Let's bring me up on the other side. And then we'll go like this. Add source. Screen capture. Smart selection. And we go like this. Boom. We got the aquarium analytic right here featured on the live stream. So here's what I'm doing over here. So this subscribe button, so I'm going to go unsubscribe. I'm going to resubscribe so I can show you guys how to do this. You hit the subscribe button like that, right? Then you go over to this bell and you go all. And you turn on all the notifications. So now I'm going to get blown up here. I'm going to get blown up if Aquarium Analytic posts a video. Because, you know, I'm interested. I'm interested in what's going on. I want to see what's going to happen. So, yeah. There we go. Shout out to Aquarium Analytic. My guy, your gal, who I don't know if you're a gal or a guy or a what. I don't know how you identify. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to assume. But shout out. Check it out. Why not? And there's, I don't know how many people are here right now. Let me take a look. Let me take a look at the buttons. I have to go back to the dashboard. Then I got to push this button over here. We've got, what, 70 people watching right now? Maybe I'll put you over 50 subscribers. Who knows? What happened? WTF? What's going on here? Dang, I'm out of sync again. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the sync. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. Oh, YouTube's not receiving enough data again. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's happening again. Yeah. I don't know what's going on over here, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what's going on. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Weymouth and Portland kayak fishing steckles. Hey all, I'm having trouble with my CO2 reactor. It doesn't seem to be changing my CO2 checker from dark green to light green. Can anyone help? Change the fluid out in your drop checker to make sure that it is calibrated properly. Then I would definitely go to the amount of CO2 that's being added into your reactor and make sure that it actually is being added in. More often than not, when things like this kind of get out of whack, it's oftentimes like a hose or a tube or something is not connected properly, or maybe it's got a leak or whatever. Who knows? It could be any of those numbers, so you want to check all that stuff and make sure that everything is going correct. Jake D says, I need me one of them custom Joel shrimp shirts. I will be ordering on payday. Oh, thanks, Jake. Definitely appreciate it. Oh, Big D Smoke says I was reacting to losing members comment. Yeah, well, hey, that's the way that it goes. Like I said, the biggest negative day on one video was 24. That's the most I've ever had. But I think the reality is that a lot of people get super irritated that I don't avoid politics. You guys know that I'm a really progressive guy. I don't appreciate the level of religion and strange things like that certain political groups in the United States bring to the table. As far as the politics go, you guys know that I don't subscribe to the BS nonsense that people are going to pick themselves up by their bootstraps, that everyone's an individual. I believe that we're all part of a bigger community. I believe that proper taxes and regulations should be in place in order to regulate capitalism, because otherwise it runs completely out of control, and we end up with families like the Carnegie family. We end up with families like, not to disparage Westinghouse or anything like that, but we end up with these J.P. Morgan Chase, right? Like, These people with $100 billion, and they're like, "What? I don't know. I'm just insanely rich beyond the idea that anybody could even make sense of this number." Recently in the Discord, I shared. What did I share it into the Discord? Let me see. I was sharing some of the, just kind of the base recognition around billionaires, and I think I added it there. As is put here, billionaires are a threat to democracy, and Bill Gates is one of the guys that like accidentally explained this in an interview probably about 10 years ago. They were asking him if he was going to run for president at some point in time, and he said that was a giant waste of time, essentially, because you get voted out, you have this limited amount of time to work with whatever you got going on, and the people vote you out of office, and he doesn't get voted out of being worth $100 billion. Like, he still just has that, right? And he has that crazy control. And a lot of people have done a much better job, like, highlighting things like that. If people are interested in some specific videos or content or whatever that you're looking to kind of figure out, I shared about this a while ago. This book that I love, this book right here, by Anand Giridharadas, and I always say his name probably wrong, and it's it's a failure of me even being able to pronounce regular English words. So clearly that's probably the issue. This actually does highlight a lot of kind of what billionaires are doing, how they go about operating, and that kind of stuff. Just gives you an idea of some of that stuff. But that's why a lot of people, that's why a lot of people have unsubscribed to my channel. And the reasons for that are varied, but more often than not, it's like, well, I don't want to hear about any of this stuff. All I want to hear about is fish, and that's the only thing I ever care about, and that's all I ever want to hear. And I don't want to hear about any of this politics stuff that actually affects human beings in the world that we live in. Which, I'm going to be honest with you, like, people that are that, like, insulated in their focus and not really recognizing the community around them of human beings that are existing that allow them the opportunity to just be like, all I care about is fish, and that's all I ever want to hear about, and you didn't provide that 100% of the time when I subscribed for free. It's hard for me to it's hard for me to respect somebody's opinion that is in that manner. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, if you just supplemented the all I ever want to hear about is fish with all I ever want to hear about is Minecraft, right? You'd be like, what? That's weird. Or all I ever want to hear about is, carburetors off a 76 Ford, right? You'd be like, what? Why are you so weirdly one-dimensional as a human being, and what's allowing you to do that? So that kind of stuff really pisses people off, and they get all mad and they throw their phone in the ocean or whatever they do. I don't know, but that's just a reality, and I do talk about politics and stuff, because I try to maintain like my own ability to see the world from more than just out of my own 2 eyes or 4 eyes or whatever anybody wants to call me on a daily basis, and continue to be a person of the world and not a person of just my own world, so that irritates people and they get mad. Lord Getface says, you said last week about plecos that stick some in a tank with a cave and you'll get babies with 32 millimeter PVC pipe sealed at one end be okay. In my experience, PVC pipe has been fine. I can't think of what specific pleco you're putting in with a 32 millimeter PVC pipe, but generally speaking, if you have the right size PVC pipe, what you want to do is put the end cap on it, but take a piece of like 200 grit, really kind of fine grit sandpaper, and run that on the inside just a little bit to kind of scuff it up. The smoothness of PVC sort of turns off plecos from leaving their eggs in there and hanging out in there. I don't know why. it would be an anthropomorphication of fish if I was to assume that I somehow had some weird conversation with fish and what they like or dislike or whatnot. But in my experience, if you scuff up the inside of a PVC pipe, the plecos will go in there and they will put eggs in there, and then babies will come out later. So, yes, it is possible to do that as long as you have the right size pipe for the right size fish and scuff up the inside of it with some, and sandpaper's like 50 cents or something, for a half sheet of sandpaper. So I'm not recommending you to do something that is super expensive or really all that difficult. So, but yeah, you can scuff up the inside of it. It's all good. Juan Davila says, I'm not a planted aquarium guy, but I like to listen to you talk about politics. You're very well informed. I wish I was more informed, honestly. I wish I was more informed and prepared to be able to talk about that kind of stuff on a regular basis, in a format that was readier to do it. That honestly is one of my goals with doing YouTube production, would be able to do, 2 fish videos a week, 2 politics videos a week, and then 1 agriculture video a week. That's really kind of my goal. It's not possible right now to do all that. So I do the fish stuff, which is one of my main focuses. I do the fish and planted aquarium stuff and aquarium care, aquarium maintenance, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. DM Penfold says, late to the party. To quote Billy Bragg, I keep voting not for the iron fist, but for the helping hand. I literally posted on Facebook today be the anvil, not the hammer. Literally was my post this morning to Facebook, to the Facebook people, was hopefully something that could consider people to start to realize, like, in their own interpretation and not being told what to think or anything, is just be the anvil and not the hammer. What is he talking about? And that old parable, I don't even know who, I probably have only got a part of it and I probably said it wrong or whatever, but is the idea that over time, the anvil always breaks the hammer. Like, the hammer doesn't last as long as the anvil. The anvil is the part that will remain, and as a human, you would want to be the person that's building the anvil-like foundation that is in a space for people to be able to work and produce things that are helpful to humanity, right? Obviously, that's a real, like, esoteric kind of thought process, but as DM Penfold says here, I keep voting not for the iron fist, but for the helping hand, is the same kind of situation. A rising tide rises all ships. There's a lot of there's a lot of common colloquialisms that will play into the understanding of that, and whether they're religious based or non-religious based or just historical or from hillbillies up in the mountains and whatnot. That is ultimately the sentiment. There is that as everyone works as a whole to improve everyone's lives, everyone is going to be doing better, and I oftentimes get a little disheartened, disenchanted by hearing things like pick yourself up by your bootstraps, which literally is a common colloquialism of explaining how stupid it is to tell somebody to do that, because how impossible it is to pick yourself up by the things you are wearing on your feet. It's not that it originated 200 years ago, that how impossible it is for you to help yourself out of a situation. And the reality is that you do have to rely somewhat on the community to get yourself out of any kind of hard time. It's goofy. Darren DeRue says, Daniel, I'm sure Corvus would answer your question with more experience, but from what I know, if you put root tabs to recharge, that would help. What was Daniel asking? Daniel says, I use Fertz. Let's see what Daniel was asking. Let me scroll up. Daniel Velez, I have a tank that has been giving me problems with parameter fluctuations. I have not had this problem before. I'm wondering if it's the soil. The tank is 6 years old. Should the soil be replaced? Really depends. If you have a Wallstad method tank, in my own personal experience, I've seen people with like Wallstad method tanks really just they hit a point where some human intervention has to come into play. Now, I would say the human intervention would be some liquid fertilizer. That's basically what I would do. If the tank has become completely unstable, you're realistically looking at like calcium, magnesium, that kind of stuff. So I would just add a bag of crushed coral to the filter or the sump or wherever you want to add it to. Realistically, so I think if I was looking through things, I would look through GH and KH, then I would test nitrate, then I would be going down maybe I'm going to add some liquid fertilizer, something like that. Though I'm not mad at the root tab idea. That might work also. So, there's kind of some options there. Once you have kind of like a little more information in regards to like what it is that's happening, then I might have some better advice, but that's kind of where I would go. Is I would look at GHKH, nitrates, see what's happening, check on pH and things like that if it's buffering weird, and just kind of go through that direction of figuring out what is lacking. But a while ago, one of my tanks just was plummeting. Like I was losing a bunch of stem plants and things weren't growing right, and it turned out that it was manganese that was the issue. So it can be all sorts of random weird stuff that could be going on. Oh, there's Victoria. Hey! Hey! Yeah. As Chevy Fish says, the gentle drip of water on a stone will, in time, carve a deep hole in it. Be the anvil, babe. Be the anvil. Daniel says, I use Nylock G. Yeah, Thrive. Thrive is awesome liquid fertilizer. So you're probably fine there. Maybe you're just not adding enough. There's just so many like kind of weird little things that can go into running a tank that, once you start doing your water testing, you can really start to figure out like a more direct attack at what could be lacking and could be wrong. Oh, Weymouth, hopefully I helped you with your reactor. I don't know if I saw a follow-up. Okay, thanks. Checked all the tubes. Oh, okay, there it is. Checked all the tubes. They're all there. So, yeah, I would check with your drop checker fluid. Replace that. Make sure that it's calibrated, that okay, this is going to get me a good reading on my CO2 and that stuff to figure out exactly what's going on. Double check the temperature. This time of year, you could have really hot tank water, which I've lost my I lost my link from earlier. I had my link earlier. This was the item of the day, which by the way, I got to tell you, I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you go buy stuff through the Amazon affiliate link that I'm about to post into the chat, just be aware, it does help generate money for the channel. So if you don't want that to happen, I don't know why you're here if that's the case, because it doesn't raise the price or anything like that. It just it basically says that I advertise to you that Amazon exists, like you didn't know Amazon existed. But it basically gives the advertising fee, which is way smaller than it used to be. So I don't know. They drop all those new regulations on having to say that, and then Amazon lowered their affiliate rate a lot. So I don't know. It's all about getting those volume clicks, man. If you go through the link and then buy other stuff from Amazon, it still gives us credit that you were buying stuff, So that's that. Although I did notice there was a lot of returns this month. I'm not sure what's going on. People getting weird out there in the the internet world, ordering stuff and then returning it to Amazon, which is pretty wild. I wouldn't say it's wild, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. I did forget a super chat from earlier, and we had no new members today. Whew, that's hardcore. Viewer activity has disappeared. We had 0 viewers through this big gap of time right there. But who was it? It was I missed the super chat from earlier. It was Joel Gillette. The best New Zealand's got. It's Joel G from New Zealand. Was a $4 super chat, which apparently looked like a little hippo guy, I guess. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I don't know. Big D Smoke says out of stock for me now. Oh, my bad. It has to be the black and yellow one is in stock. Here we go. Text, copy. Here we go. And paste. Apparently somehow clicked on the version which is out of stock. The blue and gray or the other one. There we go. That's the one that's in stock. And I have 3 of these. They work fine. They work great. I've consistently used these a lot for a long time. Last one I bought was in June 4th of 2019. And today is the 27th of July 2020. So I'm thinking that, you know, it's still working fine. I used it earlier, and that's a year, I think. So they will last probably for at least a year, right? So good thing. It's a good thing we got going. Ooh, we've lost subscribers during the show today. Oh, crap. Somebody said annoying. Oh, sorry. I am annoying. I get it. I agree. I don't disagree with that statement. I would agree with that statement. Wow, a lot of spam comments this week. Let's see. Oh, it's 2:00. We're getting up to the end here. Let's see what we got. Oh, never mind. Those it just reallocated. Oh, here we go. Annoying. Do any of these leach water, aluminum into the water? No, I don't know. Really enjoyed seeing the process. Oh, that's a good one. Why is this held for review? Where's the button? Oh no, I haven't responded yet. Okay, there we go. Oh, these are all normal comments. Oh, okay. That wasn't even held for review. Oh, I'll hit the heart button on it. Okay. Annoying. I'll hit the heart button. Paul Greenberg, more singing. That might keep the subscribers. Probably not. My singing is terrible. It will probably be more subscribers. Janice Lundberg says, is almond leaves and cuttlebone good enough for a snail tank, or should I feed them something else? Anybody? I would say generally speaking, almond leaves and cuttlebone's probably fine. I might add something in like a slice of zucchini, maybe some spinach or something. Just real basic stuff. Maybe a chunk of pumpkin. I don't know. Any kind of squash is generally okay. Don't have to go too crazy for shrimps or for snails, not shrimps, snails. So I wouldn't be too stressed out. But Alyssa says, like, when I get a sampler food and the fish are like, meh, the snails will still eat it. Also, the cutoff ends of people veggies. Yeah, that's a great advice right there. If you get some sample packs or something like that, but just a little bit of fish food, I would supplement. If you had a snail-only tank and you had almond leaves and cuttlebone, I would just occasionally add a little bit of fish food for some protein and stuff like that. You're probably fine, generally speaking. But yeah, just the cut ends of veggies, that is way helpful for all that. All right, guys, we are getting another notification that the stream is not working. We're not getting enough stuff sent to YouTube. So, hey, Monday the 27th is full of streaming problems. Maybe I'll fire up my Twitch account this week. I don't know. Leave a comment on this video. Or leave a comment on any video if you want me to start up the Twitch. I don't know. Let me know. Of course the video's off. Yeah. That's been today. Today's been full of streaming problems. But either way, I got to go. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Shout out to the everybody that super chatted. I think it was Steve, Joel, and somebody else, and that doesn't exist on here anymore, so I don't have the list. But either way, thank you very much for all your support, and I'll talk to you all on the other side.